Joey, Matthew, and Andy Lawrence are brothers who have also been acting in Hollywood since they were kids. As adults, they do still act, but they also do plenty of other things as well. And since the start of this year, that includes hosting a podcast called Brotherly Love. And they'll be here in Austin for the ATX Television Festival this weekend to talk about the art of podcasting. That panel discussion is on Sunday afternoon. There are still tickets available. To snag those tickets and for more info, go to atxfestival.com. And the brothers have been nice enough to join me now. Joey, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. And Matthew and Andy, thank y'all for the time. How's everything going?
Our pleasure. Things are going great.
Going good, man. Good to be here.
Great to hear it, and look forward to having you guys in Austin this weekend. I'm curious, and Joey, we'll start with you here. Have y'all had the chance to spend any time in Austin up to this point?
Have not. I've been throughout Texas, various times in my life, just traveling through and stuff, but never have we spent any extended time there. I've not been to Austin yet, so I'm excited to come touch down. See what.
Sorry, Joe. I didn't know this. You've never been to Austin?
No, I've never been to Austin.
I've never really been to Austin either.
This is incredible. Really? I've been there like 3 or 4 times now, honestly.
Well, whatever, dude. What makes you so special?
It's a great city. I'm just shocked that you guys haven't. This is like amazing. The first time that I get to be there. It's like I'm taking you to Austin for the first time.
Yeah, you're going to be our in-house concierge, dude.
All right, Matt, so since you're the one of the 3 brothers who's actually been here before, when was the last time you were here? And what are some must-do things for you guys on Sunday around the podcast panel?
Well, we'll have to go to the bridge and see the bats leaving at dusk. That's always really cool.
The bats or Batman? Because that I'd be into.
I'm going to bring my Batman costume. That way
There's a bunch of great little restaurants, cafes, like there's a little bit of a music scene. There's all sorts of cool stuff we could do.
Yeah, okay. You encapsulate it pretty well there. So I really relate to the podcast that you guys are doing because I'm the oldest of 3 brothers.
Simpatico, buddy.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat in that regard with y'all's relationship too.
Yep. Yeah.
But in looking at the age breakdown, y'all are a little bit further apart than my brothers and I. I'm the oldest of 3. The middle brother's 2 years younger than me, and the youngest is 2 years younger than him. I'm just curious, since there is a 12-year gap between you, Joey, and then you, Andy, how close were you guys growing up? Obviously, you do the TV show, but was there that camaraderie there at home when you guys were growing up, even though there was a pretty big age difference?
Interestingly enough, there really was. I think that sort of the way that we were working together, we've had a family business on and off for 35 years, and the entirety of Andy's life. So I believe that because of that, it created a really unique sort of vacuum where we really did spend an absorbent amount of time together. And it wasn't unhealthy, like it was a really good amount of time and it felt good to do it and just felt right. But it did provide a vacuum, because even though we had our own lives and stuff, the majority of the time, the family trips, everything that we took together, traveling for my work or Matt's work or whatever it was, it kept the family together. We always tried to travel as a family, and that kept us really, really bonded and spending the majority of those, formative years together, even though Andy was a lot younger.
Andy, do you agree with that sentiment?
Absolutely. Under the circumstances of our unique situation, it really, I think, allowed us to all grow even closer than normal.
Yeah.
The age gap was, because even though it had existed, of course, in a lot of areas, in a lot of other situations and scenarios, it was minimized because of the situation we were in and what we were doing.
Yeah.
And Andy was a really old soul.
Yeah. I came out of the womb drinking espressos and
kind of
smoking stogies.
It's kind of the case. He was really, really mature. So my friends were all his friends.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
It's not true. And then when he had a chance to get his own friends, he chose guys in their 50s when he was a teenager. So it's like, he's got this old soul. He's always aged up. So that kind of closed that gap. But I mean, I've got so many memories of like when Hook came out, and that was like our favorite movie.
Oh yeah.
And we would delineate the roles kind of to age, and so Andy was always like my Captain Hook buddy, and he I'd give him the props, and he'd run around, and we so I don't know, the gaps weren't always so big for us. Like you said, Joe, I think also too because we were well known as kids, so developing normal relationships with other normal kids our age was kind of difficult. So it further bonded us closer together because these were my buddies. This is where I could just be myself. Versus,
there's one quote that comes to mind for me when you mentioned the movie Hook. Is there a quote that comes to mind for that movie for any of you guys?
Where do I begin? Yeah, I mean, my dog's name is Shmee, and so I'm constantly going around my house looking for him, going Shmee. It's a daily thing. Like I do that. Shmee. But my marbles, lost my marbles. Rufio. I mean, where do we begin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many gems. That movie was really was spectacular.
Oh, my favorite moment though, and I still do this to people sometimes I haven't seen in a long time, is when the little kid goes up to Robin and he pulls his wrinkles away and goes, "Oh, there you are, Peter." I still do that.
Good stuff.
The most memorable quote for me, I think, is the Rufio quote where he's got Captain Hook by the sword. Looky, looky, I've got Hooky.
Yeah.
Great line.
Such a good line. Yeah.
It's a great line.
You guys mentioned obviously dealing with a little bit of fame as kids, which in a lot of cases it can really ruin the human. I've got an 8-year-old daughter right now, and she is dead set on becoming a member of Kids Bop because she wants to be famous. I'm like, you don't understand, and it's impossible for me to explain to your little 8-year-old brain, but it's not necessarily all it's cracked up to be. Having said that, you guys seem to have come out the other side of childhood fame fairly unscathed. What was the key there?
Honestly, we spent a lot of time together. It was a family unit, and honestly, we went through our fair share of stuff, but it was not.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was in different ways. We didn't fall victim to some of the traditional pitfalls. But there's always tough things. Moments that you go through, highs and lows. But we had a family unit. Our grandparents were involved heavily in our lives. They provided a buffer for us. And we were there for each other to pick up the pieces at certain times. We lean on each other in different ways. That really helped.
I think because of this, like I always say, I might have really had one of those spiral out of controls and you never see me again type of things happen to me if it wasn't for my brothers, because I don't know, there's only a few people too, when you reach a certain level of, success or fame, that will actually give it to you straight.
Right.
Whether it's the right or wrong thing, like they will give you what's on their mind. And when you lose that, you really can lose touch with reality, in which case then the career becomes you and you become the career, and it can really, really mess you up. But with having these two guys by my side who will literally, bust my balls or just give it to me straight, just to give it to me straight, it sometimes is annoying. It sometimes is funny. It sometimes can make you angry. But at the same time, it's so necessary to keep you grounded. Brothers, it's kept me grounded for sure.
Yeah. Andy, was it not only your brothers, but also all those 50-year-old friends who kept teenage Andy on track?
Oh,
kind of, yeah.
Took every single one of them, believe me. Yeah,
I think definitely the family unit and brothers really is what probably kept us all on track for sure.
Yeah, it did. It's been so cool kind of getting back together and working like we have the last, half year in this podcast and everything. It's been really fun to see the reaction to it and people just kind of loving being around our dinner table with us, which is sort of what this pod's become. It's really the pod about nothing, as so many people have said, but as we continue to do, better and better each and every week, it's pretty cool just to see people just appreciating. We just are totally honest and it's real and there's no spin to it, and we really shoot the shit about everything. And sometimes it's a little bit clickbaity, and other times it has nothing to do with anything. And I think people appreciate that.
It's a show about nothing. It's a show about something. I mean, it shows you guys rapport, and it's also an ode to y'all's fans too, because you do get your fans involved.
Yeah,
which I think is a really cool spin on the podcast concept. Who was the most responsible in initiating this idea and really helping to see it through between the three of y'all?
Honestly, people have been coming to us for a long time to try to do like a reality show, right? Because everyone does one of those, and really, I think one of the biggest pitfalls of reality shows is that no matter what they say, they always want to amp up the drama, right? They got to have something bad. And our whole thing in life has been always to focus on the good, right? There's been a ton of drama in our family, but we deal with it with comedy. We deal with it with positivity. There's no victimhood here, you know. And I feel like if you take the victimhood out and you take the salaciousness out and you take the drama out, you don't really have a reality show. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. So we really fought that for years, and we tried different versions of it. It just never felt right. And then one day we were just sitting there going like, well, maybe we can show people how we are in real life, which they've never seen, right? Because they've seen a lot of the scripted stuff, obviously. They've seen a lot of the persona stuff where we show up places. But that's, again, I mean, it's not that we're being disingenuous, but you know, you're on in those moments, right? You're out there, you're performing, so the performing side takes over. And again, that's a version of you, but it's not 100% you, you know? So we said, well, maybe the pod is really how we can do that. You know, people have been begging us to come back together in a television show together, a scripted one. And we're actually working on that, which is exciting. But we thought this could be a way that no one's ever seen this before, which is how we really are, like the real brotherly love. You know, you saw the show, everybody loved the show. This is actually how we relate to each other. And we said this might be the most honest, genuine way that we can do it without having producers trying to produce dramatic moments to create a reality show. And so that's really what spurred the idea. And then it just, one thing led to another, and a little divine twist here and there. And you know, I think we ran into a great partner that sort of understood what we wanted to do and believed in that vision like we did. And then we just kind of got together and figured out the best way to sort of bring that to the people, you know. And you know, so far so good. I mean, we're still growing and learning each and every day and getting better at what we do in this world, because it's new to all of us. But you know, so far so good. The reaction to it's been really awesome, man. Really awesome. You know, to have over like 4 million podcasts out there, you know, and like I think we just broke into the top 100, which is pretty crazy considering how little we are and how we don't have it. You know, we're not like a show about anything. You know, it's not like we're not tying it into religion or to any certain political stance. Yeah, we're not like a rewatch pod where like we take a show and just comment on episodes, you know, because those are great and fun, but that's an instant tie-in that you get. We don't really have any of that. It's just about us and about our relationships, and you know, and it's fun. It's really been really neat to see how people have received it so far, which has been with a lot of love, and that feels great.
Matt, Andy, I feel like there is a growing market for that because of how hyper-politicized everything has become. So people need a break from that, because everywhere we turn, online and in real life, we're all just being beat down over that constantly. I think the new Top Gun movie is a great example of that, where it strips away a lot of the BS and just allows people to really enjoy themselves for a couple of hours, you know?
I couldn't agree more with you, man. It really astounds me how entertainment companies, how consumer companies, how, you know, constantly just step into the middle of arguments in places that they just like, why are you guys stepping into this? What are you doing this for? Like, let the pundits talk about that. Let the political figures get into that. Let the people talk about that. But why are you talking about that? You know, it's annoying to me as well. You know, everyone's got a voice. They have a right to say it, but I don't understand half of it, you know? So anyway.
We also agree.
You did, Joe? Did you know?
That's our question.
He asked Andy and Matt that question.
Did he?
Spoke for like 5 minutes before.
But I will say that Joe is a passionate Top Gun lover, as we all are, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Sick. And to your point, it's everybody needs a break, man. So just come hang out. Yeah,
that's the whole point. Is that when we get together, it's just like we just want to talk about stuff that's not like that.
Tough, you know. Life is a journey, man. It really is, and there's a lot of ups and downs, but it's totally an adventure. And sometimes we just, you know, we don't need to add to it. You could just check out and have a good time.
It really is. It's that break thing, though. You know, it's like just take a break from it all. You know, set aside all the political stuff, the agendas that just
we talk about it, but we don't, you know, we're not gonna like throw a knife in between us and duel it out at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I mean, like people look, entertainment was created to escape, right? Sports were created. Sports are around for escapism. They actually bring people together. I mean, sports bring people together. You look at the Olympics, you know, when it was in its heyday, right? Even in the 80s and 90s, you know, like all around the world.
Back in the gladiator time.
No, but in its creation, I mean, it literally was created to unify a nation that was falling apart.
Well, unify a nation, unify a world. I mean, you talk about bringing people from all over the world whose governments may have been at war and at each other's throats, but their athletes were there to compete politically free, just in the name of camaraderie and sport. It's escapism, man. The whole thing. Going to a shopping mall used to be like to have fun, to get away. Now you can't go anywhere where there's not some sort of political agenda or ideology that's being shoved down everybody's throats. And I think people are just tired of it. I am.
Fears, because obviously people tap in the media and everybody uses fear to control and push things.
Wild.
So there's everybody's just scared and freaked out and on edge and pissed and said it's a crazy time, man. It really is.
Yeah. It is, dude.
And it's something that I learned stepping back out into, with the brothers, kind of stepping back out into being more in a spotlight, so to say. When I was around even 10 years ago doing this, every now and then you would see something that was a clickbait thing, and it was really looked at kind of like, okay, all right, that's inappropriate. Now it's all clickbait. There is no such thing as an authentic story. They'll ask you something and pull out the words that they want and just run with it, whether it's cleared or not or true or not. It's unbelievable. It's blown my mind being out here. It really has changed, even in a decade. I mean, it's really changed now. The landscape is totally different.
It's crazy to see people run with headlines when it's clear they haven't read the story. And all you know most of the time when you see an inflammatory headline is actually click on the story and see that the headline isn't at all representative of a research study or what is actually being said within the body of the story. But we're in a learn everything now and have an opinion before you've ever really filled yourself in on what's actually going on, which is unfortunately why we find ourselves in this current predicament. But I say all of that also knowing that an overwhelming majority exists in the gray area. Very few people exist on those fringes. That is all that we see represented by the mainstream, by the corporate press, if you will. And I think that's why it's important. We somehow ended up getting political here, even though we're talking about
exactly.
It's why it's important that you have these longer form conversations with rational, level-headed people talking about things like you guys on the Brotherly Love podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Look, we feel the same way. Look, the majority of people, I think, are very level-headed. I think they're very open-minded. I think they're willing to compromise, hear other people's thoughts and opinions, no matter what they are, whether they agree or disagree. This is how we've always succeeded as a country. Everyone right now, in the essence of free speech, is really trying to shut down anything that disseminates or differentiates from what they want to put out there or propagate. And it's very, very difficult to have any sort of opinion unless you're like you said, with like the fringes, with the far-reaching platforms on both sides. If you're in the middle, you're toast. And unfortunately, we are a country of the middle. That's what we are. We always succeeded right there,
Want that
a little this way, a little that way, depending on kind of the decade. But I feel like it's the middle where we've always succeeded. And I'm just praying that the rational-minded among us can continue to just quietly try to lead this country over the bumpy roads. We've always had them, but we always seem to get through it. And I'm praying that we can this time too,
Very well said there. Andy, Matt, did either of y'all want to add something there?
I just wanted to say that it's kind of maybe a little microcosm of the podcast, and maybe that's why people are responding to it, is that we have very different opinions. But in the end of the day, we're willing, even if we disagree, we're willing to kind of get through it with, still having respect for each other.
Because at the end of the day, the intention is, everybody can have their space and their love and their moment, and we don't have any ill will, and we're not being malicious about it or evil. We want the best for everyone. We honestly do.
Because the difference,
trying to navigate there, and we're all allowed to have our opinions, and we respect each other's opinions.
Because that's when you get the best things come out of people that have different opinions.
100%. We got to work together.
Got to.
It's the same old. Nothing's changed. It's been the same shit forever. So
yeah, it has. It really has.
Yeah, civil discourse is hugely important, and unfortunately, it's become a lost art in this era of people just posting the ugliest things behind the anonymity of the internet or social media. And so for people to actually have that ability, it's important to flex that muscle and have disagreeable conversations.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that your mind is going to be changed, but maybe you walk away from that conversation with a better sense of why somebody feels the way that they do about a particular
Exactly. Being able to hear that allows you to understand it, even if you don't agree with it. And understanding it that's the win. That's
what it is, because it can allow you to have the conversation and also figure out how you can communicate it better. I mean, possibly.
And I don't know when it stopped being that when you try your hardest to see things, as like the expression goes, try to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. But when you try to see something from someone else's perspective, isn't that how you grow? Isn't that how you learn as just not only an individual, but as a whole species? Like that's how we're going to move forward, is understanding each other. So
yeah, it is a wild time, man. We're actually really thankful to have the pod because it's been kind of cathartic in a lot of ways, and we're just getting started. You know, we're a baby pod. We're only 30, like 25, 30 episodes into this journey. So hopefully it will be a much longer journey. You know, it seems like it's kind of sort of edging itself out that way. So yeah, I mean, it's been really kind of very therapeutic and cathartic, and we're just getting started. So we're excited about it.
You guys have one more quick line of questioning. Are you guys okay for another 5 minutes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, last thing, guys. Unless Wikipedia is lying to me, you were all born in Pennsylvania. Actually, Andy, you and I share a birthday. Again, if Wikipedia is not lying, January 12th. So,
hey,
buddy, fellow Capricorn. I like that. It's very cool. Yeah.
So, are you guys sports fans? And if so, are you Philly or Pittsburgh fans?
Philly fans.
Eagles.
Yeah.
76ers,
Our first riff. No.
No, look, huge. I'd say huge Eagles fans. I was a big Sixer fan growing up, right? Because of Barkley and then Allen Iverson.
Oh yeah.
Huge. But but I was also like everybody was in the 90s. I was a Michael Jordan fan because how could you not be a Bulls fan? He just epitomized the greatness of being great. And therefore when Kobe went to the Lakers because he was from Lower Merion, we sort of adopted
from Philly.
We sort of adopted the Lakers as our team because Kobe sort of just epitomized Jordan's drive so much, and we could get into a whole nother 50 minutes about the NBA. Don't even get me started, dude. Don't even get me started. We'll talk. But we are Philly fans, always root for the local Philly teams. But I also respect greatness. I was a Tom Brady fan for years, and just I appreciated the greatness that came with the New England Patriots and what he went down to Tampa and did. And I followed him too, so always rooted for those people. And just like, for instance, in this year's playoffs, I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan because I love what he can do.
Yeah.
He's just defied. So he's the only guy I think in the NBA right now that reminds me of that old school mentality. And it's probably because of Pat Riley, and I'm sure that's why Pat wanted him on the team, and Spoelstra. They all have this very old school mentality, just this drive that I love. I love the GOAT drive with Michael. I love the Mamba drive with Kobe. And I think Jimmy Buckets has a very similar drive, and that I appreciate that. I really root for that.
Pat Riley,
Joe, did you see?
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I'll just get one quick anecdote. Did you see that the players voted Jimmy Butler in the playoffs harder to guard than LeBron and KD combined?
Oh, no doubt.
Man.
But
from his mentality, it was just harder to guard than both of them combined this playoff season.
No doubt.
He is a gutsy player. I was actually in Chicago when he was getting his start with the Bulls. And while Pat Riley certainly doesn't hurt, you saw that in Jimmy Butler his first couple of seasons in Chicago, then Minnesota, Philadelphia, which stupidly gave him away.
Oh my God, Philly.
And then now he's with the Heat. So I asked for that clarification because my final question has to do with Philly fans, which Philly fans in the sports world are pretty much the Florida man of the sports world. Plenty of messed up things over time. I'm assuming that you guys have been to a fair number of Philly games in person in your life. So what's the most messed up thing you've seen out of Philly fans in your time of watching games in person? And Andy and Matt, we'll start with you here.
Okay, my biggest thing is when they go out and they trash the players, or the players like families, or the players' families' kids.
Yeah, when they start attacking women and children.
Like,
there's nobody.
What is going on, guys?
For some reason. I would agree. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, look,
it does get worse.
It's all fun and fair game with like other fans, or like, the beef between the players on the court.
We eat our own real quick.
But yeah, you can't go after
our own real
You
fast.
can't start going after women and children.
Off limits. Women and children are off limits. Yeah.
Small animals. What the hell? What's the matter with you guys? Puppies, for God's sake. No, yeah, man. Honestly, I just think it always ends in destruction of something, and I don't know why you destroy the city. Whether we win or lose, we destroy it either way. Like,
Destroy the
I will burn this city down. You're going to burn your own street? You're burning your own street? Why would you do that? It makes no sense, you know? We won. Everything comes down.
Love the passion.
Everything comes down. It's the same result.
Love the passion. I get it. I get the passion. That's the way we are too.
That's how we classify it under passion.
Yeah.
People think we're arguing. We're just having normal conversation.
It's true. People think we're totally arguing. We're like, what? We're talking. We're from Philadelphia. That's just the way we talk.
I still, to this day, people that are close to me in my life, outside of my family, like, why are you yelling at me? I'm like, yelling? This is not yelling. I'm just talking.
Animated right now. I'm just pantomiming, okay?
Yes, I'm literally just talking. If I was yelling, it's a whole different thing. This is just talking. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone as far as I had a whole relationship couples therapy thing because of the way I talk, and it never worked out. And obviously, the relationship wasn't work out because me talking like this.
Not your current relationship. Previous.
Yeah, no.
Clarifying, because nowadays
it's true. Here we go.
Picked up that
current relationship, great. Previous relationship, even if I was talking like this, it was like, stop screaming at me. You're going crazy. You're like, no, and then I tried to change myself for a couple months. That didn't work. Trying to be like a totally different person who didn't move my hands. Not gonna happen.
Here's the deal.
Yeah, I sit on your hands. I tried everything. I tried everything. It didn't work. That's what we talk.
Like the Serenity Now episode of Seinfeld. If you're whispering Serenity Now, you're gonna go crazy. You got to scream Serenity Now so that you can get it out.
That's exactly it, dude. Serenity Now. It's exactly right. Yes, exactly.
They are the brothers Lawrence, Andy, Matt, and Joey. Check them out on the Brotherly Love podcast. And if you're around Austin this weekend, there are still some tickets available for their panel discussion. It's all about podcasting. It's this Sunday for the ATX Television Festival. Go to atxfestival.com for tickets and more information. Guys, thank you so much for the time, man. This is a real joy.
Likewise.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Truly appreciate talking to you, man. Can't wait to do it again.
Thanks to Gentleman Jesus for the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. And thanks to you for hanging out. For more of the show and to connect on social media, visit booksonpod.com. We'll talk to you next time on Books on Pod.